at that stage after that tour, it was when Tom decided he wanted a break. He wanted a year off, didn't he? And at this stage, he said that you guys can do your own thing during that year, and that ultimately led to you leaving the group. Now, can you talk us through what happened with all that, please?
Yeah, like I said, we did our last tour the autumn of '79. We got home around Christmas time. And Tom got us together in January and said that he was taking a year off, and that if there was something else that we wanted to do, to work with another act or do a solo record or that sort of thing, now was the time. Honestly, I hadn't really thought about doing a solo record at all. I was always, a group player, and I liked being part of the group. So so Brad and I started some songwriting. And although I had written a few songs very early on that we did some demo stuff, Tom's writing skills just took off, big time. So we were happy to have him, handling the writing. So Brad and I started doing some songwriting, and after we had several songs together, we brought them to Tom. Obviously, for me, in the hopes that he would say, "Well, I like this or that, and I'll consider using that on a Boston record." But instead, he said, "Well, if you're going to do a solo record, I'd like to produce it." And of course, we knew that the record company was pressuring for another record, and they would not want Tom working on a solo record when they wanted him working on a Boston record. So Brad and I continued on with the writing, and I brought some material to the record label. They were excited about it, and they got John Boyle again involved, and he and I co-produced the record. And I was trying to work within that year-long time frame. So by the spring, we had the record recorded, and we ended up putting it out in August of 1980. And I figured, if I was going to do any promotional work or maybe even do some dates on it, I could get that all done and still be in that year-long framework. Well, when the advertising started coming out for the record, one of the first major ads was a full-page ad. It's a picture of me playing, and it said, 6 million people have heard the sound of his guitar. We want to introduce you to him. And I took that as, well, here's the other guy that you don't know about that we want you to take a look at. Well, Tom saw it from the perspective of, they were saying, here's the guy behind the Boston records. And he had a real problem with that, obviously. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, he went to the record company, and pretty much most of the promotion for the record stopped. And by the end of '80, the record had pretty much, gone away.
Yeah.
So then he got us together again in January of '81 at this point, and said that, told the band that, I can't work with Barry anymore. He's gone. And before the meeting was over, Brad announced that he was leaving the band too. He said, "Well, I know you're going to be starting a third record, and I'll commit to singing on the third record and doing what I need to do to promote it, but I'm out of the band." So essentially, at that point, the band was just the three members. But Brad did go on to obviously sing all of the third stage record, and he went out and toured extensively on that. But before the third record got completed, both Sebastian and Fran Sheehan, the other remaining band members, left the band. So when Tom went out to promote the third record, it was just he and Brad.
So how were you feeling at that stage then? I mean, did you try and put up a fight? Did any of the other band members try and put up a fight? Because obviously the way that Tom took it wasn't the way it was intended. So was there any attempt to try and change his mind?
Not really. And that, honestly, that was kind of disappointing for me that Sib and Fran didn't go to bat for me, but they both felt as though, well, Barry wants to do his own thing anyway. Obviously, Brad took it upon himself to leave the band when I went out.
Yeah.
Other than contractually, I don't think it really changed anything that Brad said he left. Although he did leave again, later in the, I had a band in the mid '80s, Orion the Hunter, which I was recording and touring on around the same time Tom had his third stage record. And later in the '80s, I started the band RTZ, and at that point, Brad left Boston to join RTZ, and we did the RTZ record and went out and toured on that. So, Brad did go back to Tom and did some more touring after that, but he was never really a full-fledged member of the band at that point.
Yeah. And just touching on that solo album of yours, then, I mean, there's some great songs on there. Hard Luck, Life Is What You Make It, two of my favorites. There's obviously the single on there, Dreams, as well. I mean, given the strength of the album and the record, and how upsetting was it for you, not just what happened with the band and Tom, but how upsetting was it for you to see the record almost be just shelved, despite the strength of it, just because of what happened?
It was tough. Looking back with 2020 hindsight, I wouldn't have tried to get the record done in that year-long time frame that he gave me. I'm proud of the record. I think it came out really well, but I think given more time, it could have been even better. Listening back to me, it felt a little rushed, and the production was good, but they're looking back on it. There are a lot of things I would have done differently, but hindsight is 2020.